Now, I mentioned how stories are like Inception, and this one is even more like it, because this is a story inside of a module in Charisma University that is about stories. So try to keep it straight. I'm just going to do my best to tell you a story right now to illustrate some of the points that you're going to see throughout the week. And this one for me taught me the insane value of stories over almost any other kind of data sharing. So back in the day, I used to teach dating. And one of the things that we would do is we would talk to guys, and we'd go out during the day in New York City, and they would go ask girls that they were attracted to on dates. It was a heart-wrenching, scary thing to do for young men, but ultimately really, really exciting. And one of the biggest problems that I had was getting them to actually overcome that initial feel, because women, if you don't know this, are absolutely terrifying to most men, especially during the day when anybody can see you and a rejection feels like it stabs you in your heart. So in these presentations that I would be giving, we'd just be talking in a room, and I would talk for an hour and a half, but one part always came back as the part that people loved the most. And when 3 months later, they would tell me, you know what? There was this incredible girl that I saw. I wanted to speak to her. I was scared. I almost walked away, but I thought of that thing you said and I did it. This was it every time. And it was a story. It goes like this. So I was, even a few years prior to this, living in Washington, D.C., working as a consultant, didn't love my job. And I walked out of this thing just disheveled, not really happy with my working day. I'm standing at a stoplight and I see coming the opposite direction someone who I think is incredibly attractive. Now, I'm not feeling myself in this moment, and she just kind of walks past me and I continue on my way to the metro. And I'm going, oh man, whatever, long day, maybe you should have said something, I'm just not feeling it right now. And I get to the next light. And I don't know how or why or what she forgot, but I look over to my right, and that same person, that woman, is standing right next to me. And I go, oh boy, because now I have to say something, because I just thought to myself that I should have done it previously. So in an incredibly nervous tone, because I am terrified, I kind of go up to her and I stumble through saying, hey, listen, this is completely out of the blue, but I think that you're gorgeous. I just saw you walk past. I would be kicking myself if I let it happen twice and I didn't say anything. I'm Charlie. And that was it. And she laughed, she smiled, we continued walking, she introduced herself to me, and we kind of just walked together to the metro. Now, unfortunately for me, it became clear very quickly that she did, in fact, have a boyfriend, though she appreciated the compliment. And so we talked about nonsense for another 60 to 90 seconds before we got to the metro. I went my way, she went hers. That was that. I felt amazing for having done the thing that scared me. But that wasn't it. Because about 4 months later, now in winter, I'm getting onto a bus to go to New York City to visit my best friend. And at this point, I'm not in a suit. I'm dressed in a hooded sweatshirt. My hair is completely rumpled and disheveled. And as I step onto the bus, I see that there's someone in the front seat that is kind of just looking at me. And I make a mental note, but don't think too much of it. I go sit on the bus. For whatever reason, halfway through, I think it was a double-decker bus, I went down to go to the bathroom or something. On my way back, I see the same person looking at me. I'm like, what is going on? And it's a girl. Finally, we get off the bus in New York City after a 7-hour commute, which was insane. But I get off the bus, and on the way out, this person glances again. I go, I have to know this person. I say, hey, do we know each other? I feel like, I don't know. I feel like we know each other. She says, yeah, actually, a few months ago, you told me that you thought that I was really beautiful. And I was stunned because that was about 4 months previous to this. And it was about a 60-second interaction. And in between then, I'm absolutely positive that this girl heard that she was beautiful by more than just me. Any bar that she went to, this would have happened to her. It was probably not an uncommon occurrence in her life. So for that to stand out so much just showed me the kind of impact that this boldness can have. Everybody has the guts in a bar or behind the Tinder screen or whatever it is, but very few people can do it in broad daylight. And even though I mumbled it and even though it felt silly, it made her feel good. And she remembered it 4 months later, to the point where she remembered me and I didn't remember her. So that's the story that I told people. And that was the one that inspired the most action. And the reason that I tell you this story is to implant in your head that if you're trying to communicate something that you want somebody to take action on, stories are powerful. Storytellers are some of the most powerful people in the world. They write our movies, some of our songs, all of this stuff that makes us feel oftentimes is transmitted in narrative format. So mastering this, even though it isn't essential to charisma, is an incredibly powerful tool.